Hello, YouTube. It's Imaginary Lloyd, and I would love to tell you a story. Today, we got Reaping Rain Chapter 2 of a Sales Pony. Now, I know pony stuff is very strange. It's cute. I'll be honest, it's very cute. A lot of people are kind of giving the whole brony folks a bad rap, but joining the fandom, there's nothing like that. And I like the cute stuff myself, so if got any issues with the bronies, well, your opinion, I guess. I'm gonna keep reading the story and probably finish it, so just have to live with it or not. I don't really care, to be honest. Not worried. So go ahead and go on with this. Whoa, 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 Rainbow Dash exclaimed, dropping the scythe immediately and backing away from it as if it were a poisonous snake. I so did not agree with this. Oh, but I'm afraid you did, Rainbow Dash, Jeff said as he picked up the scythe and offered it back to her. And a bargain is a bargain after all. Rainbow sat and folded her forelegs, turning her nose up at the scythe. Not on your life, he shouted. No, on your life, actually. He winced. Okay, so, not that I'm not glad they gave me another chance, she said, offering the sweetest smile. I'm really not sure I want to go around killing ponies. I believe I already stated that I do not kill ponies. Merely come to collect them at the end of lives. Thus, you have no need for concern. Rainbow Dash swallowed. But I mean, I've got my own life to live. I don't want to spend it doing this. Oh, is that the problem? After all, I only wish to take a short holiday. I only need for a few days. Let's say 3. Yes, I'm nice. 3 days as the Grim Reaper, and you'll wake up amongst your friends and family in perfect health. Rainbow Dash bit her lip. Well, I guess 3 days isn't so bad. I mean, how many ponies die in a day anyway? Dash shrugged. Oh, it depends. 2,000 perhaps? Rainbow blanched. 2,000? Yes, but be glad to know that I don't have to show up personally most of the time, F said, waving his skeletal hoof dismissively. Naturally, would you mind if we conducted this conversation so appropriate? Where? She asked, raising an eyebrow. Death tapped his scythe on the ground, and the scene around them faded away in the shadow. Rainbow felt as though there was blackness all around until gradually she became more and more accustomed to light, or lack thereof, and took in her new surroundings. They stood on a seemingly endless empty plain, of bare earth the color of pumice. Starless midnight sky stretched overhead, and the light was from the crescent moon, curved like a life's blade. Nearby there was a charcoal gray house with white lilies bloomed in the garden and the yard. Behind the house was a huge field of row upon row of tall ashen. She noticed that the stalks seemed to be waving slightly in the wind, despite the fact that there was no wind to speak of. In fact, she realized the entire realm was completely silent to the point that even her hoofsteps sounded eerily muffled. The whole sight left her awestruck, and her mouth opened up at the gothic ethereal beauty. Ah, home sweet home, Jeff said, monitoring for Rainbow to follow him and brought her toward the house. You mean you live here? She asked. He chuckled dryly. In a matter of speaking, I suppose, he replied. He went to the back door of his house and opened it, going inside. Rainbow wasn't certain what to expect when she crossed over the threshold of Jeff's house. To her surprise, the place looked surprisingly ordinary. There was a living room, a kitchen, a dining room, various pictures of death, posed with surprisingly ordinary-looking ponies. Pony's sake, this place looks like my parents' house, house, she ventured. It's cozy? You're too kind, F Death said. By the way, I see that you noticed some of my photographs. I'm quite fond of that one with the story, now that I think. Quite a lot of ponies showed up at his funeral, thinking he'd faked his own death, and that it was all one big trick. He made a rare exception and let his ghost attend it well, and he thought the whole affair was hilarious. We had quite the chuckle over that one. Rainbow grinned. Yeah, I guess that is a little funny, she said, relaxing slightly. Oh, but I digress. This way, please, said, leading her to the living room. It should be noted, the irony of Death having a living room struck Rainbow Dash considerably later. Though such irony was actually unintended, Death refers to the parlor, but in any case, what is important is that this is the room where Death relaxes, occasionally entertains other guests, who may be ponies or beings who, much like himself, represent abstract concepts. Death motioned for Rainbow to have a seat on the sofa as he went. You prefer your tea with lots of sugar, yes? He asked from the kitchen. Huh? Oh, yeah, she said, still feeling very awkward. Oh, wonderful. I'll have it ready in a moment. While the kettle is on, I'll fetch you some necessary supplies. Tea? For the job. She gulped. The job. Those two little words carried a lot of weight, distributed over letters. Death returned with the book, pocket watch, and a clipboard. I'll be brief, Rainbow Dash. Most ponies are quite able to accept their passing and require no help from me at all. Some are not so fortunate, and thus they require some assistance. My appearance has come to terms and know somebody is there to greet. In the end, some ponies can't face their fate alone. In the absence of others, I alone am there to be a friend. You, of all ponies, can appreciate that. Rainbow sighed. Well, perhaps you'll come to appreciate it in time. Oh, wait, sorry. Sure, I guess so, she said, not very. Death said. Or perhaps you'll come to appreciate it. For now, here are the tools in my tray. He set the pocket watch on the coffee table, picked it up, and saw it had no numbers and no hands. That watch sounds a chime whenever you're summoned. Simply stare into it and you'll know where to go. He then passed her the clipboard, had a few papers clipped to it. They all looked blank. When we go to renew the soul, their name, all necessary information. Top paper. Task is done, sign on the bottom and leave it in my inbox in the office. I will add it to my personal ledger when I return from my holiday. Well, that'll come in handy, he said. Indeed so. For all other matters, continued, placing the book on the table, please consult the manual. It is a training guide for substitute reapers that I created for just such an occasion. Rainbow picked it up. It was a surprisingly thin book with a black faux leather cover. The title embossed on the front read, Reaping in You, the Do's and Don'ts of Death. He made a face. No pony told me I'd have to study for this job. Well, the job isn't terribly complicated, Death said, leaning, his dim eyes burning cold. I strongly recommend reading the book. Is it at Rainbow swallowed. Okay. Splendid, said cheerfully. That just leaves this. And he presented her with a long black sight. This time she accepted it, if somewhat reluctantly. With this you may manifest your will. Return to this place with a tap of the ground. Place through the air and you may tear through the fabric of space-time to travel wherever you wish to go. And, should the need arise, you may use it to latch onto a soul and escape should one prove feisty. Like certain mares I could make. He grinned sheepishly. Now you can't blame a filly for trying, she said. Perhaps not. But be prepared to be on the receiving end of such behavior every now and then. Finally, once the soul is ready, raise the sight on the air to signal that they are ready to pass on. They should fade from sight, and you may then move on to the next. In any case, you must not leave until you've completed the task. Now, do you feel a bit more... Right, Rainbow said, nodding. Sure, piece of cake, she said, though her expression belayed her dismay. You're not a terribly good liar, Rainbow Dash, F said. But not to worry, I will accompany you on your first job. In the meantime, why not enjoy your tea? But you haven't finished making. She looked down and saw the teacup was sitting on a saucer in front of her. Wait, when did you... I didn't even see you bring that in. Time holds little meaning, the Rainbow said. But you mortals are better at tricking it than you give yourselves credit. You heard the phrase, the watch pot never boils. The true trick is to forget the tea completely. Made really fast. I find looking at the phone helps too. There was a loud chime. Rainbow took a sip. She smiled. Whoa, this tea is awesome. I am very glad you like it, but still you may wish to drink it quickly. Your first assignment should be coming along any minute now. There was a loud chime, like the tolling of an iron bell, and Rainbow held up her watch. Oh, she said quietly, can I finish my tea first? Don't you think we should hurry? I thought you said time holds little meaning here, she thought back, giving a smug grin. Death chuckled. I see you're a quick learner. Still, it would not do to neglect the harvest. Drain your cup, Rainbow Dash, for our work is at hoof. Rainbow stepped through the rift, greeted by her scythe, and found herself standing in a small kitchen, looking out over the window to see the skyline of Manhattan. Jeff stepped in behind her and tapped her on the shoulder. She watched as he pointed and then followed him over to the kitchen table. The stallion sat alone at the kitchen table. He'd collapsed over the table and was face down in his oatmeal. Got you. My gosh, is that pony dead? Rainbow asked, back at Death. And Death slowly turned to face her. For having a face that was nothing more than a skull, he somehow managed to give her an expression that said, Are you bucking seriously right now? Right, stupid question, she said, looking back at the deceased pony at the table. So what do I do? Use your scythe to draw his spirit out, she said, and then we'll have our little chat with him. Rainbow nodded. Okay, here goes. And she timidly held her scythe over the body and gently tapped it before yanking her scythe back as though shrinking a venomous snake. A shape began to take form in the air next to her body at the table, swiftly coalescing what looked like an exact copy of it. The pony standing there looked around in confusion before setting his eyes on his... Oh. One word seemed to hang in the air for a moment, and Rainbow felt a pang in his heart for the pony, pang in her heart for the pony, but he must be going through. She'd gone through similar herself, after all, not very long before. The pony wore an ill-fitting, shabby brown suit, and his mane was thinning. He'd combed it over and his face was creased with wrinkles, though not enough to qualify him as elderly. His coat was reddish-orange, and his cutie mark was a suitcase stuffed with paper. Excuse me, Rainbow asked. The stallion whirled around and gave a momentary start when he saw her. Huh? He said, his voice throaty and masculine. I didn't expect to see you. You look that way. I didn't expect you to look that way. Oh, I'm not, she began, but then she stopped, realizing her position. Well, I mean, I am, but... She's in training, Jeff said. He gave a small bow. Please forgive the slight inconvenience. Oh, I see, he said, nodding with a surprisingly casual understanding. Oh, I've had to talk to trainees like that on the job before. It's fine. Rainbow smiled. Thanks, she said. So let's get started if you don't... And don't mind if I screw this up too much, okay? Stallion nodded. Oh yeah, sure, go ahead, he said. You already looked the part with the robe and, what do they call that curved thing? Sickle? Scythe, actually. That's correct. Hey, do you mind? Rainbow said. sickle works. Yes, very well. They continue. Rainbow looked at her clipboard and reading the fine print on it. So, let's see. It says your name is Billy Brogan. She asked. Oh yeah, that's me, he said. Salespony extraordinaire. Wife, 2 kids, she continued reading statistics. Financially strained, unsuccessful. Hey, I'm just in a slump, he cried. He cried indignantly. That's lasted 5 years or so. Oh, who am I kidding? Heaved a sigh, and Rainbow felt a hard nudge on her side and turned to see Death deathing her. Fantastic. You feel like talking about it? She asked. Well, it's not like I didn't try, he said, rubbing his temples. Yeah, ponies just want a little more flash and pizzazz now. I'm not quite as young as I used to be, but I still have value. I can sell these vacuums. I can sell anything. Let me tell you, I once sold 20 vacuums in one day to some of the best families in Canterlot. Rainbow Dash grinned. Well, that's kind of cool. How did you... She felt another nudge and saw Death shaking his head, and in retrospect, she realized he probably didn't know the fun. Well, anyway, she said, you ought to be proud. Oh, I am, he said. Then his expression weakened. I mean, I was. That day when I sold all the vacuums was one of the best of my life. I came home, my wife was so happy, my boys were jumping around. I thought I was just the beginning. But that really was just my peak. I never sold anything close to that to any pony that important. I thought about what I could have done differently, but, yeah, got his eyes. I guess it doesn't matter, does it? I'm dead. There's no point worrying about what could have been. Rainbow shook her head. No, look at the bright side. Now you don't have to worry about it. Billy smiled. I guess you're right. Oh, how'd I die anyway? Rainbow checked the paper. It says you died of a sudden heart attack? His eyes bulged. What? No way, he shouted. My doctor told me last year to take better care of myself, and I'd been eating more oats. Rainbow Dash looked over at the bowl of oatmeal. Did you put cream in there? Yes, raised an eyebrow. Only a little, he said defensively. And some butter, and a little brown sugar, just like I do every morning. Oh, damn. Rainbow covered her mouth with her hoof, trying not to laugh. Well, I guess I got no pony to blame but myself, he sighed. Still, I'm glad I took out that big life insurance policy, and my wife and kids will be all right with all that money. I'm worth more dead than I was alive, he observed, shaking his head. I can't decide if that's funny or just sad. You're smart enough to take care of your family, Rainbow said. That totally counts as something. Heck, I don't even think I've got a life insurance policy. If I broke for real, the only thing I'd leave my friends and family is a bunch of trophies and a tortoise. Billy chuckled. Well, I wish I retired a few years back when I had the chance, but I had a good run. Great family. He said, I think that's something to be proud of. Rainbow nodded. So, what happens now? Rainbow looked at Death, who pantomimed holding up a scythe. Oh, right, he said, holding the scythe aloft. Hey, you take care, Mr. Brogan. Hey, you too, rookie, he said. He wore a serene smile on his face as his spirit faded, and then he was gone. Well done, Rainbow Dash, he said. Let us return to my abode and finalize. Well, that wasn't so bad, Rainbow Dash said as they both stepped through the rift back into Death's parlor. I am glad to hear that, he said, though I admit it was a fairly soft case. They may not always be that easy. Rainbow scoffed, rolling her eyes. I was nervous at first, but after that, I think the next 3 days will be a piece of cake. Well, I would caution you against being overconfident. Perhaps it is in your nature, but oh well. You've shown the ability to roll the punches. And even if things get tough, I believe you'll find a way forward. Thanks, I think. Death nodded and suddenly clapped his hooves together. Rainbow watched as a new rift appeared in midair. In that case, I believe we can consider your training finished, he said and began to move. Wait, you're leaving already? She said. Well, since you feel so confident, and since I'm eager to begin my vacation. Yes. He paused and looked over his shoulder, adjusting his straw hat slightly. I strongly suggest you read the manual closely, but you may contact me should a real emergency arise. And I do stress emergency, Rainbow Dash. It must be a life or death situation. Figuratively. She held her head high and nodded. Excellent, she said. Oh, and one more reminder. This deal I've offered is not yours to offer to another. In short, don't even think about passing this job off to another pony. I've entrusted you with this duty, so no pony but you can assume it for now. I wasn't thinking of passing it on, she cried. Jeff simply stared back at sight. Okay, maybe a little, she murmured, looking away. Apologize, Rainbow Dash, but there will be no subcontractor for this job. Now, if you'll excuse me. Death moved to the rift, going through it. Rainbow peered inside and saw a glimpse of a sunny beach next to a crystal blue sea. Good luck, Rainbow Dash. I'm sure you'll do a fine job. And the rift closed, and Rainbow found herself alone in Death's house. Okay, she told herself with a long, calming breath. I can do this. I'll start by reading the book. She took a seat on Death's couch and opened the first page. Let's see. Chapter 1. Your sight and you. Your sight is like your best friend. It can do all sorts of things besides reaping. At first, it can seem overwhelming, but don't worry, you'll be fine as long as... Her watch suddenly chimed. The unnaturally loud tolling of the bell startling her bad enough to make her drop the book. I guess I can read this later, she said, setting it down on the coffee table. She held up a watch. I'll just go ahead and take care of this pony. Watch chimed again. These two ponies. The watch chimed again. And again. And Rainbow swallowed. Okay then, I guess if it's gonna be like that. And she gripped her scythe hard and put on her best game face. Then let's do this. She opened up a new rift with her scythe and bolted through it. Her career as a reaper was about to begin. And with that, we call another chapter to a close. Thank you all for listening in the future, soonish or whenever, and I look forward to all again or sometime. As always, this has been Imaginary Played, Ghost that likes to tell stories. I'm going to have to come up with a better motto in the future. You all, good night.